quick word about assistive technology. Now, assistive technology has some great benefits for people with dyslexia. It can mean that, we don't have to just continually read stuff. There's audiobooks, there's scanning pens, there's all sorts of things. It also means we don't always have to write stuff, so we can speak into a computer or into a mobile phone and it comes out, or we got sort of apps that check our spelling and all sorts of things. So assistive technology can be fantastic for people with dyslexia. Let's just sing its praises for a second. One of the problems we have, though, is that we often get caught in the trap of thinking that because assistive technology can help, it's therefore good. But actually, there are downsides to assistive technology. Let's just look at a couple of them. One of them is that as it reduces the need to write, actually one of the things that proper writing instruction can do is it can get us to engage with literacy. Now, it can be difficult and we don't like it, but the danger is that people aren't taught to write anymore, or that they don't even attempt to write anymore. And this can be quite negative, actually, for our cognitive development. Similarly with reading, if we use scanning pens or some form of technology that allows us to scan text and it just reads for us, then we're not engaging with the text in the same way. It becomes a lot more passive. The speed of audiobooks can be quite difficult. We rely on the person reading an audiobook. It can often be quite off-putting if the person who's reading something just doesn't sound right to us. Because remember, when we read normally, we hear our own voice in our heads and we're hearing somebody else's voice with an audiobook. It's very difficult really to engage with infographics or cartoons when things are being read to you. Similarly, a lot of the time, if you've got a book, you can turn the pages, you can highlight things in yellow, you can compare something on one page and something on a different page, you can turn back, turn forward. This is really hard on audiobooks, and it's really hard with any form of scanning technology. There are other challenges, of course. One of the other challenges is that technology can often act as a sticking plaster. So imagine there are structural issues with the education system that don't help people with dyslexia. So there are structural issues such as the way that you've got to learn, the way that you've got to then output information in your exams at the end. So there's all sorts of things that the education system does that don't help people with dyslexia, that actually hurt people with dyslexia. And in fact, you can say very similar about a lot of business practices. The things that we're expected to do in business are not always easy for those of us with dyslexia. And where we have assistive technology to help us, so we don't have to read all the time, we can listen instead, or we have a scribe for our exams at the end of the year. These are essentially sticking plasters that cover up a far deeper systemic problem. And that if we rely on assistive technology, what we're doing is we're essentially enabling systems and structures that don't help dyslexics, or in fact that push dyslexics down. We're enabling these systems to continue because now the people who purvey these systems can say, well, you've got your technology, we've given you what you needed. You should now be able to read as quickly as everybody else. Or you should now be able to produce the report using the spoken word in the way that everybody else can produce the report, just as quickly as other people can produce the report. But it's not necessarily only the phonological processing that makes learning difficult or that makes going to work difficult. There are other issues of working memory, issues of executive function, issues of emotional stress, all sorts of things. We could list them one by one. So assistive technology can help with some of them, but it doesn't help with all of them, and it doesn't deal with the structures of an education system, for instance, that is not set up for people with dyslexia. And finally, I'd like you to think about this. One of the problems of technology is it's made life faster. So at work, for instance, in the old days, you'd maybe have a job that had to be done in a week, and this was considered urgent. Now we have jobs that need to be done in a day, and this is considered urgent. And technology, because we've got technology, and technology has meant that what used to take a week now takes a day, because that's the way that technology can help us. It becomes more efficient. And in becoming more efficient, the demands of the world increase. And actually, this may be quite bad. It may be quite harmful for those people with dyslexia. Dyslexics, generally speaking, have a slightly slower processing speed than non-dyslexics. But in a world that demands things now, in a world that demands things immediately, in a world that demands things yesterday, then suddenly those of us with slow processing speeds, or those of us with executive function challenges, because technology has enabled the world to become faster, technology has made life difficult for those of us with dyslexia. Technology is a double-edged sword. And it so happens that dyslexics may be those people who get cut the deepest by it.